All right. I think we got back on. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I do not know what happened, but Periscope kicked me. So we're back. I won't be surprised if a lot of people have taken off after that. I see a bunch of you showing back up, though. Okay. Well, we'll keep going. If there's more questions, if you guys have other questions, go ahead and shoot them out, and we'll field them and go. Validating you. That's good. I think that's good anyway. Pixelation is so-so. That's a very green thing to say, Al. You might take that up with Periscope. Oh, wow. Yeah, I just saw it on somebody else's camera. It is very pixelated.
From Minecraft.
Looks like Minecraft. Yeah, cool. Green, architect. Yes, engineer. Anything that involves putting plans into action. Yeah, I look funny. You hurt my feelings there, Mike. I really think you should have reworded that somewhat differently so you don't hurt me and my red. Is there a good way to find... Sarah, did you catch that question? It faded.
Is there a good way to find out what our children are?
Okay, kids. That's a good question. Very good question. You can explain what the words are in the test to children and have them take it. I think that you'll see natural mannerisms come out. When I first had my children do a colors test, they all came out yellow. And I remember looking at the results going, that is not possible. I know my children. I know they're not all yellow. But when they were faced with a decision to choose a word that they did not feel, due to training, they did not feel that they had the right to choose that word or that emotion, they chose a lesser emotion or a different emotion that they felt was more acceptable to their training. So you tend to get more skewed results giving the colors test to children until they're a little older, maybe 12, 13, 14. They're starting to kind of make decisions on their own and kind of adjust to the who they truly are. I think you'll get better results then. Too young, and they will respond based on their training more often than not. What is the name of your book? If you posted already, so sorry. No problem. The book is called Full Spectrum Success, Living and Leading in True Color. It is available on Amazon, or you can get a copy, both digital and print, through my website at jacobadamo.com. I feel like my boys are all red and my girls are green, yellow, but that could be gender and age too. Yes. Yeah, they came out yellow because their dads are red. Very true. Yeah, they were looking at everything that they were answering based on, am I allowed to say this or not, or would I be in trouble, or would dad be upset because I answered that, that I'm more forceful instead of more giving. And that's, that's pretty typical of a child. They're still in a fashionable state. So, I do think when it comes to the boys all being red and your girls green and yellow, there is definitely a certain amount with children that comes in to their gender and their age. Absolutely. And their responsibility levels, too. That can play a huge role as well. So I don't think you'll see a solid set to a person's personality until they are really pretty much out on their own. And even then, some of the nurturing, learning so much. Good. I am so pleased to hear that. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Some of the nurture tendencies will still stick around even into adulthood. Is there a pair of colors that bond better in relationships like marriage or friendships? You know, I used to think that there probably was. I do not think so anymore. I have seen every combination out there imaginable, and it really only depends on how true they are to their color. How well do they function in their color? My wife and I are both reds. Statistically speaking, our relationship should not work. She's a red-green, I'm a red-blue. So when it comes to me having my way, I want my way. Otherwise, the fun gets sucked out of the room. And in her case, she's a red-green, so it's her job in her mind to make sure that I understand all of the...
Hi.
There she is. I know, she's beautiful. I lucked out completely. I'm blessed. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have had some fun, and we have had a lot of learning curve. But, you know, I think, honestly, we have a great relationship because we clashed so hard in the beginning that we've had to focus on working it out. So, thank you, Mike. She is an awesome lady. I wouldn't be who I am without her, that's for sure. So I don't think that there's, if you don't mind sharing, how old are your children? We have 6. My oldest is 11, and our youngest just turned 2 recently. So they are ages 2 through 11. Yeah. It's true. It's a lot better now. But we have learned each other's colors, and we've learned each other's buttons. And now instead of pushing the buttons like Reds like to do to make the boom go off, we know now how to function without doing that. And that, you know, it's not just about being a certain color or understanding all the colors. It's actually a desire to want better communication. You can understand all the colors, and if you don't desire better communication, it actually can give you a complete arsenal to destroy relationships. So, one of the best things to do is make sure that your heart is in the right place. Does color impact habits and addictions? I will be perfectly honest, I don't know how to answer that completely. I do think certain, like if I were to answer this just off the cuff, 'cause that's a new one, good question. I'm actually going to write that down. If I were to answer that off the cuff, I would say I think there are certain colors, certain personality colors, that are more likely to form addictive habits. It is a very good question. I'm going to have to give some thought to that because I just did a Periscope recently on rejection and how different colors experience rejection a little bit differently. And this is all stuff that I'm putting together for my second book, which will probably be either later this year or early next year. So very good question. I'm going to give some thought to that. I do think there are certain aspects of your more social, outgoing personalities, specifically red and blue. I think they can tend toward... I think reds tend toward addictive things that help them relax, let it go, not feel the pressure, the stress. I think blues, they don't really need a reason to be addicted to much of anything. They get high on life, for crying out loud. So, blues have to be careful not to let anything that they enjoy, whether it be snowboarding or whether it be, a glass of wine with dinner, they have to be very careful not to allow that to take over. So, very good question. Something to definitely ponder. This is good. I got a question to study up on. Reds are coffee addicts. Typically, because they're driving all the time. They never stop. They're always cooking something up, and they're always going over things and pushing for stuff. I used to drink a lot more coffee. I actually don't drink coffee anymore. I might have a decaf every now and then for the flavor, but since I switched to my Ningxia Red with my nitro in the morning, that's all the energy I need. Keeps me going, so I love it. Blues can be coffee addicts too. That's right, don't leave the blues out.
That's Ashley Boy.
Oh, is that Ashley?
Yeah.
Yes, very true, Ashley. We won't leave the blues out. They can have their coffee. Absolutely. Any insight to how each color learns best? Visual, hands-on. Your blues are typically going to be very hands-on. Your greens are going to be more analytical, more thought. They can read something and they'll be okay with it. I think I am not sure what I would say about yellows. I think as a red, I'm one of those quirky ones. Like when it comes to learning, I can listen to a listen to an audio CD and I love it. But if I really want it to sink in, I will also go read the chapter or take notes. That keeps my attention. Of course, that could also be partially because I'm a red-blue. I have to have something to keep my attention if it's going to sink in and actually stick with me, which is why I tend to take copious amounts of notes. Other people are like, you listen to it, you're going to remember it. Well, no, not necessarily, but if I write it down, I will remember it. As a yellow, I learn easier by doing. Okay, good to know. So yellows are more hands-on, blues are more hands-on. I think reds and greens tend to learn pretty easily by reading. I was homeschooled. I tended to take care of that. When I take notes, it sticks better. Yeah, exactly. What are the best ways to give constructive criticism based on colors? Constructive criticism is kind of an oxymoron. You can tell somebody something, but until they're ready to hear it, you're not going to have a real good impact, no matter what color they are. So look for the teachable moments. Yay for homeschooling, cool. I think the primary thing to focus on, I always like to say you can lead a man to knowledge, but you can't make him think. Just like you can lead a horse to water and you can't make him drink. Look for the teachable moments. There's a saying out there that amateurs convince, professionals sort. Unless somebody is open and willing to hear something from you, asking a question, looking for a change in their life, constructive criticism will probably fall on deaf ears and actually tend to cause more harm in a relationship than good, in my experience. That's what I've found anyways. So, sorry I don't have a whole lot to go on with constructive criticism. You can simply state your opinions and beliefs and make sure that they understand that it's out of love and respect, and hopefully that will do it. Blues like to talk. They like to learn through discussion, idea sharing, often auditory. Yes. Yep. You get a circle of people together. I used to laugh because in college, they'd separate you into work groups, right? And you'd have this class that, you got this project you have to accomplish as a class, and you got 3 or 4 people, and it's time for everybody to get together and work on the project. And, the first person to suggest, let's all sit in a circle and talk about our ideas, is usually the blue. And then you'll have the one person in the group that decides they're the boss, and this is going to go down their way. And that's typically your red. You've got your green, which is going to sit there and quietly listen to most of the opinions, and then they're going to completely shoot everything down because they have a better way. They have a better how to get this done, or they'll stew on it. But, and then your yellows, they're going to be kind of looking back and forth between everybody going, so what's my part again? What do you guys want me to do? But it used to crack me up watching those groups as they came together because the blues were always the first ones to suggest, let's all huddle up. Come on, let's huddle. Let's talk about it.
Big Hero 6 characters.
So, yeah, my wife just mentioned the kids were watching a movie called Big Hero 6 recently. And It absolutely cracked me up because the extra characters in that show were all four of the personalities, and they were so perfect. They were so perfectly done. Whoever wrote the script for those characters was on the ball. It was awesome. So next time you watch that, you're welcome. I just ruined that movie for you because you're not going to be able to think about anything but the colors when you watch it now. Thank you for the hearts. I've got lots of purple and teal hearts going. I really appreciate that, guys. That definitely helps out. Thanks for doing this. I know how busy you are. I think this will help a lot of people. Strong work. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the push and the nudge in this direction. So if this was helpful for you guys and you guys got good information, keep those hearts flowing and definitely comment. If you've got questions, keep going. I've got a few more minutes. I'm willing to keep going if you got a few more. Probably not much longer than 10 minutes, and then I've got to get going. But I have really, really enjoyed this. This has been fun. Ready for book number 2. I've been getting that a lot. I'm working on it. It's coming. Love that you have a large family, and this will help a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Very glad to hear that. So excited to meet you at convention. You too. I'm going to be meeting a whole lot of people at convention, and that's going to be really exciting for me. That's going to be neat. Plus, I get to present this, to hundreds of people, which is going to be absolutely awesome. I am speaking at convention. I'm going to be speaking on August 4th from 6 to 7 p.m. You've learned so much. Great. I am so glad to hear that. Thank you very much for sharing. So, yeah, I will be there August 4th, 6 to 7 p.m., Longhorn Room F. It's a nice, large room, so invite everybody from Session A that you know. Let's get a packed house. I will not be speaking at second session. They had too many speakers. Unfortunately, everybody that is speaking is only getting one session, as far as I know. So even some of the big ones like Mike McDaniel and Lindsay Moreno, I think they're only speaking at second session. So they kind of split us all up and did their best to spread it out. So I won't be at second session, just first session. But I do plan on doing more of these Periscopes. I'm also doing free conference calls with different teams. We've got a whole bunch of those coming up with some different teams in the next 3 weeks. I think I've got 6 of them booked right now. With our training department at work and buying them the book. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So yeah, we're doing some training calls with different teams. I do an introduction team. No, it is not only a YL concept. This concept is good for corporations, for churches, for families, for any aspect of life. Bettering communication is never a bad deal. Looking forward to the call. Yes, that is going to be fun. So yeah, we're doing some training calls. So if you are a team leader, whether you're you can book a conference call at jacobadamo.com. Yep, you can jump on there, send me an email, and we'll get that scheduled and get that figured out. We'll do a call with your team, kind of educate them on the colors and talk through some basic training on it. Be happy to do that. How do different colors express emotions differently? Hold it in, blast it out, talk about it, etc. It kind of depends on the emotion. Blues are pretty much off the cuff with emotion. You're going to know if they're happy. You're going to know if they're sad. Yellows, it depends on their functionality. They may be pretty open and quick to let you know if they're hurt, or they may bottle it up and kind of deal with it that way. Greens, I don't see a lot of outward focused emotion. They tend to bottle it up. They tend to hold on to it. Primarily because I don't think they want to make a rash emotional decision. Because they're very analytical and they like to think things through, they don't trust their first response always. So they will sit and mull it over, stew it over. They might be planning your ultimate demise for a little while till they forgive you if you cross them. But they tend to not be the first one to speak. Reds, yeah, you're going to typically know if you ticked off a red. They're probably going to let you know via sarcasm or just plain cold shoulder and I'm over you, burn bridge, done. I missed that last comment. We want, and unfortunately I'm by myself now, so if you could repost that, sorry to bother you, but greens have emos? Yeah, they do. Yep, they're just very close to the vest and very careful. What's an emotion? For you, probably that thing that you don't let out. That's the tiger that stays in the box. Don't rattle the box. So hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, drama queen. Yep, too often. Yeah, and when it comes to emotion, husband can be robotic. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And a lot of it depends on how you read the other person too. A red may blow up at another red if they're functional and they understand that the person that offended them or bothered them is a yellow. Hopefully, they're able to rein that in a little bit and focus on allowing the yellow personality to understand how what they did may have hurt, and kind of look at it from the who perspective, turn it back around to the person, and make sure that personhood is connected fully, so they understand the hurt that can be caused. Where a red to a red, they don't really acknowledge that hurt the same way. They're going to be, they know that there will be sparks. Metal on metal will create sparks, but you'll be fine at the end of the day. You'll get over it. Learning colors to help me personally and in business. Invaluable. Awesome. Very good. It did a lot for me too. I never stumbled across the colors until it came. I was listening to a call from a YL leader. But I don't talk about my feelings, anger in, pain out. Yeah. Yep. Very, very much so. And I, listening to this YL leader talk about her color and how her business was the same color as her personality, and that's when it clicked for me. I'm like, I gotta figure more about this out, because I've done door-to-door sales and all kinds of things, and I've always loved studying people, and I've always understood that there are innate differences, and how you approach one person may shift and be completely different for somebody else. So once I figured out about the colors, it put me on a path to putting together the questions that I've always associated with different personality types to those colors and seeing the way that they mesh. So, there's a leader somewhat. The diamonds of each color describe how they build their business. Yes, that was Kim Prather. She was the one that put those diamond calls together. Those were awesome calls. It was great to listen to. So, and I think Kim is at Sensibilities Team, I believe. That is her handle on Periscope. She also does scopes on business building. If anybody is able to type that out, if you know how it's spelled, I'll see if somebody on here can fire that off. But it's at Sensibilities Team, and she's a great one to follow. Jihan was unbelievable. That was a fantastic call. That was just amazing. That was a great call. The yellow call and the green call, all of them are worth listening to. Every single one of them. At Sensibilities Team. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sarah. So definitely a good person to follow. For those of you that are new to Periscope, when you see something like that come up, you can search for that person at Sensibilities Team and follow them. Or you can click on the different people that speak and follow them as well. So how do you explain something like forgiveness to the different colors? Put that up again, please, Sarah. Okay, there you go. Search Kim Prather. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're getting good content enough to feel like it warrants purchasing the book. If you do purchase it on my site, jacobadamo.com, if you want the paperback version, all of the individual sales that come off of that site, I am personally signing those and mailing them out. So you'll get an autographed copy for what it's worth. As far as forgiveness goes with each one, forgiveness is a universal, and without getting up on my pedestal and preaching at you guys. We're all called to forgive, whether the other person is sorry necessarily or not. Doesn't mean that trust is regained, but we're all called to forgive. The thing that we have to be careful of is, depending on the different personalities, like blues, they can develop a really quick whatever mindset and they just blow it off. Well, that's not the same as forgiving and getting over it on your end. Greens and yellows will tend to stew on it a little bit. Reds, if there's a fire and they want resolution, they're more likely to pour gasoline on it, and it kind of becomes a grenade contest to see who can withstand the explosion the longest. But they usually get over it fairly quickly, or they get over the friendship and it's done. So I would say forgiveness is universal. You have to be careful not to use the vice side of your color to avoid it. That's where I think personality colors comes into play. I missed that last comment. Forgiving helps. I saw that much of it, and that was about...
Forgiving helps us. It's biblical. It's not...
Helps us. Right. Not a suggestion. And it does. It helps us. Forgiveness is for you. So that's why I say the only way that I see personalities tying into forgiveness is be careful that you don't allow the vice side, the bad side, the troublesome shade of your color to take it away, to keep you from doing. Yeah, yellows, when they get hurt, they're afraid of getting hurt again. And that does cause them to be slower to forgive. It isn't an excuse. You still got to do it. But it's understandable in the fact that we understand, as a green, trust broken is devastating. I think broken trust hurts no matter who you are, really. No matter what personality, color you are, broken trust hurts. It's just we handle it a little bit differently. Yellows are very slow to come back in trust once that trust is broken. Greens are... I honestly think greens probably have a harder time trusting than yellows do when they're hurt. Because yellows are still about the people, and if you can rebond, you can get over it. Greens, they're very loyal. Yes, betrayals are hard regardless of color. Greens are very loyal. When that betrayal happens or they feel like that credibility is lost, is very, very hard to rebuild it. It takes a lot of work and tireless effort because they want to see it proven out, not just stated, proven out. So that's what I would have to say about the colors and forgiveness, is just be careful that you don't use yours as a vice not to forgive, because regardless of your personality, you're still in control and you're still responsible with what you do with your personality. So forgive for your sake so you don't have to deal with it. Learn to trust again because you are strong enough to take it. You are strong enough to take it. So don't let bitterness take root. Green, yellow, I understand it hurts because of your loyalty, because of the depth that you would go to support, love, and protect those under you, those around you. But forgive for your sake. It'll empower you to trust and be a better person going forward. So great questions. Great questions. Thank you guys for the hearts too. I see tons of colors on there. Forgive, but remember to set boundaries. That's always important. Boundaries are very good. They're very healthy. Very healthy. That's why I said it doesn't necessarily mean that trust is 100% regained. That's where boundaries come in. But forgiveness, that has everything to do with you, not the other person. Good stuff. I'm glad you like it. Glad you liked it. Good. I'm glad that spoke to you. Awesome. Thank you for the affirmation. My red wife is throwing the iPad across the room because it won't work. Yes, my red wife was nearly throwing her smartphone across the room when she tried to Periscope earlier to announce a class.
10 times.
Yeah, took her 10 times on Periscope and it still wouldn't work. I got lucky. I think on the 6th one tonight, it actually went through. Something about the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, it just doesn't like it. Be sharing with Upline and Crossline members and friends and family too. Thank you very much. Thank you. She needs an iPhone. Yeah. I don't know. We're not iPhone people yet, but there are some really cool stuff out there that is only iPhone, I have to admit. As a green, I can't justify breaking things. Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to spend the money to go replace it. I agree with Mike. No iPhones yet, but I might have to upgrade our phones to something that doesn't crash on Periscope as often as these do. So we'll see. Thank you guys so much for coming and taking part in part 2. I know it's been a bit of a challenge when Periscope crashed and you guys are still faithful and came back on, and I really appreciate that. You guys have definitely made my evening with all the hearts and all the love. So thank you so much, and feel free to share the information. I will post the replay on... My wife's giving me hearts now, too. Yay! Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. The YouTube channel is just Jacob Adamo. So search for that, and you're going to see there's only one video on there because I only have recorded one Periscope besides this. So, but I will put this copy up there. So this one and the other one on rejection and the different colors will be on there as well. So just search YouTube for Jacob Adamo, and you'll be able to share that as well. The colors test, if you take it on the site, it's powered by BuzzFeed, so you should be able to share not just your results as you take the test, but you can also share the test socially. So if you have a team page for your network marketing team, go ahead and share it to the team, get your people talking, get them taking the test, get them understanding what the colors are, and that way when you start to refer to something as a green tendency or a red tendency, or you start talking about the colors, your team will know what you're talking about. Plus, it is excellent. If you have a private team page, I strongly suggest that you open up a poll question on your team page and ask people what color they are. Link to the colors test, so they go there. They take the test, they come back, and they answer your poll question with what color they are, similar to what I did on my Facebook group. It's a great way to get to know people, get to understand what color they are, and you'll understand your team better. You'll start to see people show tendencies, and when you know their colors, it will help you pick up on the patterns and traits. It's one thing to read a book, and it's one thing to listen to somebody do a Periscope. It's a whole nother thing when you're able to see it actually play out. I had one person, to give you an example, that was they were in the middle of building a house, and they'd had the foundation people in, and they'd had the septic people in, and the next day somebody was coming in to dig the well, and so her daughter was listing off everything that had been done so far, and she's probably in her later teens at least, possibly even early 20s, but she's talking to her mother. Her mother's a red. Can't get your team to respond. What is that saying? I don't know. Hopefully that's not a break in credibility with your team. Hopefully it's just the fact that you haven't found what interests them yet. If you're talking about responding to getting on Periscope or with the colors, you might not be tying it to something. They don't like surveys. Okay. Well, and if that's the case, does your book mention YL? It does not. No. My book has me listed as a network marketing leader, but I left all company ties completely out of the book on purpose, because I think that the scope and range of this book is a lot larger than just our company. I think it has a reach with a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that need to understand personalities and communication better. So when it comes to the survey, if they don't like surveys, just see if they'll at least respond by, taking the quiz and writing their color in. If they don't like a survey, just get a shout out from those willing to involve themselves. You'll find that as you get more involvement, you'll get 2 or 3 or 4 people that respond. Others will start to get pulled into that momentum. So start with the ones that will be excited by it. Get 3 or 4 people on your side and tell them what you're going to do, and then launch it. Have them answer it. Have them tag people that are under them. Make it a fun, interactive, social experience for them, and I think you'll get better results that way. So, anyway, back to my example. Tagging party. There you go. What color is more likely to respond? Probably your yellows and your blues are going to be the most likely to respond to that type of thing. Yellows predominantly, I would guess. Unless you can appeal to the leadership of the reds and greens. So, anyway, back to my story. So this gal is a red, and she's looking at this list, and her daughter's reading off the list, and she gets down to the question. She goes, so tomorrow, and her mom, being a red, she's expecting, what happens tomorrow? And that's not what she hears. All of a sudden, she hears out of her daughter's mouth, her daughter's a yellow. And she took the test. She knew she was a yellow. And she looks at it. She goes, so who's coming tomorrow? And she said her jaw about hit the floor because she was fully expecting to hear what is going to be done tomorrow to the new house that we're building. But that wasn't the question. Her daughter was interested in who was going to be showing up. And so that was it's kind of neat how you'll hear speech patterns and you'll begin to see a shift. So that's one of the reasons that I strongly suggest that you do something to try to figure out the different colors on your team. It's going to be much more helpful for you in the application of this knowledge if you know the colors of your team. So, plus it's fun. It's fun getting to know people. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap this up and spend a little bit of time with my lovely wife. We've been working all day today, and I hope you guys have found good value here. And leave me a comment on Facebook as well, if you will, and let me know if there's other questions that didn't get asked. I'd love to have a crack at those and answering those maybe on Facebook on the group. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight, and thank you so much for the questions. This Q&A would not have been possible without you guys and your questions, so I really, really appreciate that. I look forward to meeting some of you guys at convention, and I will hopefully be talking to you guys later. Alrighty, take care. Have a good night. Let's see if I can get this thing to stop without too much drama.